everyone. Welcome to the Play Choices Podcast, the podcast you hear. I'm your host, B.
Hi, I'm the co-host Lucas.
We're basically just going to look over the Choices Insiders for December and simultaneously pretend that we did a bonus episode for November. You know, sometimes you record some, sometimes you don't. It just happens. It's life. Let's move on. So, for context, for anyone who doesn't know, if you've never heard of a Choices Insiders before and you're very confused with what we're talking about, Choices Insiders is essentially an email that comes out on the first Thursday of every month that Pixelberry curates and distributes to give us more information about upcoming books, yada yada yada. Sometimes there's just some random shit in there. But we will occasionally, I feel like what are we at? Like a 90% success rate of recording a bonus episode for everyone that's come out.
Yes, absolutely.
We're passing. We have passing grades in this. So if you yourself are not subscribed to a Choices Insider, I will put the link of how to subscribe to it in whatever the bio of the episode is, or the episode description. I don't know what it's called. It varies by platform, but it'll be in the episode description of whatever platform you are using to listen to this episode on. And additionally, I'm also going to post the link to this month's, the one that we're reading, the Choices Insider, so that way, if you don't have it in your email box and you want to see it for yourself, it'll be down there. So that's where all the information will be. But let's just go ahead and start reading. I mean, the opening says, "Are you ready to deck the halls with suspicions and theories? We've got you covered, but first cast your vote." So as usual, they start with a poll, and it says, "Do you read mobile fiction on your phone? And if so, what platform do you read the most?" I guess I just kind of paused for a second because I was like, what is mobile fiction?
Yeah, that's very weird. Like, first of all, automatically, I'm not even gonna lie. When I look at this, my head goes to like fan fiction, right?
Yeah.
Because like Wattpad.
Well, they have Wattpad on there.
Exactly, which is fan fiction. They ain't got no fucking books from authors on there.
Well, I guess if you count, she's great.
I didn't mean to comfort them like that. They are authors. They are like putting their work out there. But, Kindle and Wattpad, two different things.
Yeah, no, absolutely. They're definitely two very different platforms, and that's why the question kind of threw me off. I've also never heard of Radish and Dream with an E, so I'm definitely Googling
in my life.
that. I am 100% Googling that when I start recording this. But I guess like when I first, because I did go ahead and do like a little pre-read of it before we started recording, and when I first read it, I was like, is mobile fiction a genre? But upon reading the entire thing, I am realizing that they're referring to fiction works that you read on your phone. I guess an iPad would fit under that definition too, right? Like a phone or a tablet. So, and then it says, if so, what platform do you read it on the most? And the 5 options are Wattpad, Kindle, Radish, Dream with an E, and I do not read prose fiction on my phone. I do feel like this is a difficult question because there are so many more options than the 4 that they listed.
Absolutely.
Where's fanfiction.net? Where's
I'm
AO3?
so dumbfounded. Where's audiobooks in general? Like, what if people just like to hear their books and not necessarily read them per se?
Maybe. I don't know. They're very specific with the read.
Absolutely.
They're probably just asking because like the actual likelihood of Pixelberry getting into like audio books very low. They tried with like one book. It wasn't even like, okay, it's not really like an actual attempt because they didn't read the narration of the book, but they did hire like singers for a book, and they're like, it was just too expensive. So I don't think they're gonna attempt that again. I feel like audiobooks are like out of the question. But I can't believe they didn't put AO3 on here.
I mean, truly, I just feel like sometimes Pixelberry and Choices really just be like showing us how out of touch they are with like, this generation and this time frame. And like, this just really speaks for itself because, I mean, truly, just the Radish and the Dream, never heard of it in my life. Like, I really
maybe we're being disrespectful. If you read on Radish and Dream, sweetheart, I apologize.
Yes, I do. I'm girl. You the elite. You the elites. Okay, you You're like,
I'm Googling it right now.
absolutely. Like, they're like those people who are like, I listened to her when she was on SoundCloud. Like,
Oh my
yes,
God.
boo, yes.
Oh my goodness. It's bite-sized fiction. Enter a world where you can indulge in thousands of the hottest binge-worthy stories at your fingertips. Okay.
Wow,
Actually,
okay.
you know what? I have seen YouTube videos about the if this is what I think it is, I do believe that I have seen YouTube videos about these type of apps. I have never, not once, engaged in it myself though. And then let me look up Dream. Oh my god. Oh, there's so many typos on this site already. I'm so overwhelmed. Wow. Oh wow. This is, I mean, okay. You know what? Not for me. Not
Mm-mm.
the
Not at
best.
all.
Are you
Mm-mm.
on it too?
Mm-hmm. Very
It's
much
not the
so.
best user design. I feel like this is, it's very weird to me, just very strange to me that they have very clearly launched a mobile app design on your browser, because that's where I'm looking at it from. Oh my god, there is erotica on here. Okay. All right. Well, that's enough. I don't need that. So I guess for me, if I were to pick one of the five options, it would be Kindle, even though I don't really use my Kindle that much, but out of all of the options, like that's the one that I would use the most frequently. Do you have an option that like fits
Yes,
on this list?
definitely. Definitely.
Wattpad?
Absolutely, because the only thing
Okay.
that I'm thinking about is that the movie After and then like After We Collided that's like on
Yeah.
Netflix and how like that isn't originally like it is called After 2 on Wattpad, but it's originally a One Direction fanfic that's about the main character is actually like quote unquote Harry Styles in the story.
Oh
So
no, why
like
would
when
they
I
do Harry like that?
listen, the fact, her name is Anna Todd, and the fact that like she produced such like it's so crazy because if you watch the movie without knowing that it's like was fan fiction, if I tell you it's fan fiction after you watch the movie, you're gonna be like, oh no, I completely agree. It's 100%. I understand. You
No.
know.
I have watched a portion of After. I never watched the sequel, and I don't think I finished After, but like, wow, I'm saying the word after so much in this sentence. Now that I know that it's fan fiction, everything makes sense.
And I'm like, it's so crazy, like how like something could be so popular and so mainstream that you end up getting a movie deal out of like this is fan fiction and again how do I phrase this art is art, right? Like it's
Hmm.
interpretive, like you can write a fan fiction about anything, but the fact that it's just so popular that they're like, okay, we're gonna pretend that it's not about One Direction and just go ahead
Right.
and make this a major movie deal. Like it has like some pretty known actors and actresses
Yeah.
like in there, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
but no, it's the Wattpad had me by the fucking throat in high school. Like I'm not even gonna sit here and pretend that it did. I'm not even gonna sit here and pretend like I didn't write fanfiction on Wattpad, which will not be disclosed. You guys will
You know
never find
what?
it.
You know what? I write fan fiction, but I've never put it on Wattpad. I'm a Tumblr, AO3. It used to be on fanfiction.net, but truly,
Fanfiction.net, that's the cherry popper. That
that's
is
the
like
original.
it is, and then everyone does kind of like drift away. Like I had a fanfiction on, and I had one on. That's all I'm gonna disclose. But I mean, it was as cringy as you would think it would be, seeing that it was on fanfiction. But the amount of people that would comment and be like, "When's the next chapter?" I'm like, "Can y'all calm down? I have a life." Like,
Okay, so would you say if we had to look at this question beyond the realms of the four options that they gave us, would it still be Wattpad?
yes, definitely, yeah.
Okay, because for me it's definitely AO3. In the past, fanfiction.net, absolutely. But AO3 now. Okay, cool. Glad we discussed that. Mobile fiction is not a genre. They mean on your phone or your iPad. Okay, so let's start with the November review section. It says it's a bittersweet ending to a beloved series. Last month we said farewell to the Royal Romance series with the Choices live stream. If you missed out, don't fret. We've got the recorded video for you. Haven't played? Find your happily ever after in the Royal Romance, the Royal Heir, and the Royal Finale available for all. I have a very unpopular opinion about the Royal Anything series is that it just went on way too long. I'm happy it's over. It need to be put to rest. And for those of you who enjoy, that series, I hope that it got the ending that you wanted. It seemed like a lot of people were emotionally pleased with the ending. So that's the thing I'll
That's
say about
good.
that.
I mean
Right.
that's good to hear after the backlash of Open Heart
Everything
that
else,
like yeah,
yeah.
well, I mean, yeah. Absolutely.
Okay, and then the section for surrender says there's a whole new world of passion to explore. Push your boundaries with their newest VIP early access book, Surrender, available now for all VIP players. To give you some context, Lucas, what I've learned about this book so far is that apparently in the beginning of the book, the MC finds their spouse cheating on them with a BDSM mistress, and you get a divorce lawyer, and somehow your divorce lawyer introduces you into the world of kink, aka BDSM. So,
Okay, eye roll. Just the biggest eye like
I know.
why oh my God. In order to force this plot in the beginning chapters, why is it because of some past trauma of like you getting cheated on by someone who did that particular type of work and suddenly you like what are the this would never happen in real life. It just would it
You
just
would
would
think that
not.
someone, and I'm not saying that the reaction that I'm going to describe is a rational or a good one, but you would think that if someone was cheated on and their first introduction to the BDSM kink world was being cheated on, that they would fucking hate it.
Exactly. Like they would not want anything to do with it.
Right, because, and I'm not saying that, again, I'm not saying that these series of events are logical because they're all based on emotions, but like if you were to get cheated on and then like a month later be like, maybe I'm interested in the world of kink, couldn't you go back to your ex-husband and be like, I kind of understand where you're coming from. You shouldn't have cheated on
Absolutely.
me, but I am also intrigued.
And then out
Right?
of all the people to introduce you into that world, it's
The
suddenly your
lawyer, your
divorce
divorce
lawyer.
lawyer.
At the like, what are we? Don't you just become like a martyr? Like, don't you just become like the epitome? Like, I don't know that. It's just it's ironic. It's a lot of irony that of course your divorce lawyer can show you into that world and then like I mean what's the conclusion? Like if you
I'm just
figure out
thinking
like
of laws of attraction, and I know that we haven't gotten to anything steamy yet, but I'm just thinking Gabe Rishi like taking over your
oh I'm
divorce
like hello like I
case.
just oh I really need to see like yeah no this is definitely going to be a book that I read not out of like I'm curious but like I just need to see how they set this up.
Yeah, it's gonna be like a
Yeah,
The Nanny Affair read for me.
absolutely,
It's not that I desperately want to like read a
absolutely.
BDSM book, but I am just morbidly curious about how they're going to execute this. And they straight up said like normally whenever a book is about to release, they release like a article from like the writing team about how they prepared for it, and the writing team was like, yeah, we watched 50 Shades of Grey, like all of them. And I was like, all right, well, you're already not starting out on a good
And here we
basis
go
there.
again because 50 Shades of Grey is originally a Twilight
A fan
fanfiction.
fiction.
Like, can we stop?
And it was like, I don't know. I'm just making guesses here. I will say allegedly, I do not believe that the author of that series ever had any real experience with BDSM.
Yeah, right? Like,
I
yeah, I'm
don't think
pretty sure that's
so.
accurate. Like, I'm pretty sure what you just said
We
is
may be
factual.
wrong.
Yeah,
If we
yeah.
are, I apologize to that person, but I don't think that they had any experience with BDSM. And another thing that makes me nervous about it is maybe y'all who have VIP can tell me how it is so far, but it just makes me nervous because like there's that infamous BDSM scene with Ethan in book 3 of Open Heart, and it was not good. And even though we have seen a little bit of like more kind of like kink play in certain aspects of like laws of attraction, like with that opposing lawyer, the one that looks like the female Robin sprite from the Nanny
Yes,
Affair,
yes, 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 yes.
those I think were done a little bit better, but I'm still nervous. Like I'm still very nervous for it.
I mean, it's one thing to have those scenes, right? And then another thing to make a whole book about it. And like when in the past, if Choices hasn't executed those scenes, with good taste, what makes them think that we think that this book is even going to be good?
Well, it's also like bad because another thing that I saw someone compare, and I believe this person that I'm talking about, I believe their Twitter name is like Accursed Halo. If it's not, I apologize, but they pulled a screenshot from the choices like book cover for Surrender, and then there's another app called Taboo that is like really infamous for having like steamy, really low quality stories. And they also had a BDSM book, and like the covers are like exactly the same. Like it's both a woman who's sitting back in a chair and their mouth is like open, like they're having a good time, but their eyes are getting like covered by like some sort of like satin cloth.
There's just so many thoughts running through my head. There are just so many thoughts running through my head. Like I just feel like they I just feel like Choices was like, let's take the nanny affair, spice it up a little bit, and just grab any mainstream thing that has BDSM, and then let's just like write a story. And
Yeah.
that makes me very, very nervous. Like, it makes me feel like the book is poorly executed.
Before we get on with the rest of the episode, let me interrupt with some plugs. You can leave us a voice message at anchor.fm/play-choices-podcast/message. It could show up in a future episode. You can also directly support this podcast by going to anchor.fm/play-choices-podcast/support, which will allow you to support us on a monthly basis. You can also go to streamlabs.com/playchoicespodcast/tip to make a one-time tip. All of these links will also be available in the episode description. Thank you for your support, and let's get back to the episode. Before we continue with the rest of the episode, let me interrupt to share our socials. We are at Play Choices Podcast on Instagram, Play Choices Pod on Twitter, and we're also on playchoicespodcast.tumblr.com. I'll post any episode notes relating to this week's episode on Tumblr. We're also available for streaming on all major platforms. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, please rate and review, as reviews help us in the platform's algorithm. If you leave us a 5-star review, we'll read it on the podcast. As always, we are a growing podcast. If you see us on your socials, we appreciate a reblog, a retweet, or a share depending on the platform you see us on. We also love it when you share our podcast with your Choices-loving friends. And back to the episode. It also makes me worried because I'm like, how many of you... I wish I knew. I wish there was a way for us to get this type of information so that way we could figure out like what books are genuinely built up from like a writer's creativity and what books are insisted that they be written because they see it on other competitor apps.
Absolutely, because I was just about to say, like, what's the like, how many avid Choices readers were like emailing them like, hey, no, I want this type of book. Like, what's the demographic? Because I think it's one thing to release it and then have everyone be like, oh, wow, you know what? Like, yeah, I could read something like this, as opposed to like, no, I actually want Choices to create a book like this, because this kind of seemed left field a little bit. Like, just a little bit, right? Like, it just seems like,
I honestly
okay.
feel like after the reception that the nanny affair got, where like everyone was buying like a porn scene or a sex scene in every chapter, they were like, yeah, we could do this and make some money off of it. That's where I think that inclination comes from.
You only gonna get tied up if you do a diamond scene like that. This is what you know. What this
Oh, you know
book,
what? You're
like,
right. Because they have to
right?
introduce some like non-diamond options for
They have
BDSM, because
to.
otherwise it's going to make absolutely no sense.
And how many people like, you know how like sometimes like the way it's written, it's just like like random hookups here and there throughout the chapters, because like,
Mm-hmm.
for instance, like Gabe is just like on No Nut November or something.
Yeah.
Um, do you think that like it's gonna be like halfway through her like chapter and she's gonna be like at a grocery store, some clerk is gonna be flirting with her and she's gonna be like, like, oh, I just want to learn, like I want to show you what I've learned so far. Like I'm just trying to like gauge that. Is Surrender a single LI book? Do we know that?
Um, I don't know. The only information that I know about the LI is that it does allow opportunities for you to play from the LI's perspective. That's the only thing I know.
Oh, okay. Okay. Surrender. We're gonna stick a pin in it, and
Right.
we're gonna come back.
We'll
We're
circle
gonna.
back
I mean,
when the first chapters start to
absolutely,
release
absolutely.
for the rest of us, because neither of us have VIP and we will not be getting it anytime soon. Okay, so let's move on to behind the scenes. It says, as we move closer to the release of Crimes of Passion, we asked our writers if they have any advice for our players who will be venturing into our newest mystery book. And the quote says, advice? Pay attention. You never know when a small detail might be relevant later, even if it seems irrelevant at the time. Get those notepads ready, because it sounds like this book will keep us on our toes. Stay tuned to our social media pages for more on Crimes of Passion. And then it shows us this... what's that? Was the Spy Kids you were watching earlier?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, this looks like a Spy Kids setup where you're in like this big computer lab with 3 monitors. It looks like they're looking at a camera and like maybe some sort of like heat sensor. I don't know. They have an RGB keyboard, which is an interesting thing to put in like a spy desk, and a cup of coffee. So apparently this could be someone's home base for monitoring. I don't quite know what it's trying to show, but it definitely looks like this is someone who is up to either trying to stop crime or someone who's trying to do crime. One of the two.
Honestly, I'm glad it's like less ambiguous because I will literally, as much as I do enjoy the laws of attraction, the fucking photo they showed with the
That
water,
photo of that
I
fucking
will,
water on fire.
I'm
Oh my
never gonna
god.
get
And then
over
it
it.
was blurry too. Like it wasn't even a clear photo.
I'm never gonna get over it. So I'm glad that like when I look at this photo, I'm like, okay, I get, but
Right, you
still
can
though,
piece it
like
together.
Crimes of Passion, like when I read that, I think of like L.A. Noire, like detective style, like out on the
Absolutely.
streets, like let me,
Yes.
interrogate someone. Like this is we hacking again. We're gonna stick a pin in it because
Right.
oftentimes like they'll like show a hint of something and it's just
Hmm.
completely taken out of context, and it's like, are you trying to be quirky choices? Like I don't know. It was
Yeah.
just, mm,
Well, that was the thing too. Like the hint that they had for Laws of Attraction, like in hindsight, was not at all important to the plot. Now,
at all
maybe
whatsoever.
I shouldn't be saying that because we haven't even finished reading it. So let me zip my goddamn mouth closed because I don't know. I don't know. Okay, let's move on to the top frequently asked questions. The first one being, when are the Nanny Affair 2 and Laws of Attraction 2 releasing? I assume they mean the Nanny Affair 3, because yes, the Nanny Affair did get approved for a sequel. It says both sequels are early in production and do not have a release timeline as of yet. We will be sure to update the community when we have more info to share. Number 2, when will we have news on Blades and Mismatch? Today. And then it says view the calendar below. 3. When is Wake the Dead releasing for all players? This month. Stay tuned for a finalized release date. And 4. Why are all new books being released as VIP? This is something they'd address in their VIP early access. If you want to go read that, it's in the Choices Insiders, which I will link in the episode description. Okay, so looking at the up next section, we have it separated between the projected VIP releases and projected Y releases as always. So the projected VIP releases say The Crimes of Passion is releasing in December of this year. There's a new book called Untamable, which it just has, I don't know what that is. It's kind of giving me Spirit, like the little Disney horse
I
animation
fucking
movie
hate
vibes.
you. Oh my god, why is that so fucking accurate? And why is the next one, Princess Swap, giving me like the new Vanessa Hudgens
I
movie? That they
know, that's
keep
exactly what I
like
thought.
it. I saw that and it was like an eye roll, and I'm like, oh my god, because like I have not seen not one of them, but every time I'm on Netflix, they're like, the
They're
Princess
always
Switch
pushing it.
3, and I'm like, why? Why
Yes.
is there so many? How are people
Yes.
not catching on? I don't
Yeah.
understand.
Okay, so they have an untamable. I that has to do with the horse. If there's not a horse in it, I'm gonna be so disappointed. February, Princess Swap coming in March, and then something called the Cursed Heart coming in April, which that's probably the one that's the most interesting to me, and I'll be very excited to see more details come out about that. It just looks a little
Absolutely.
dark. I love dark fiction.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Truly, like I said, Crimes of Passion. I said, okay. The next two was an eye roll, and I saw Chris Hart, and I said, what you
Mm-hmm.
about, baby?
No,
What
it
you
looks a little
about?
interesting. Then they have the projected wide releases: Wake the Dead coming this month, Mismatch coming in January, Surrender coming in, okay, not a date, okay, and then Surrender and Crimes of Passion coming sometime in early 2022. And then also a note that says, please keep in mind that these dates are subject to change. Then there's last 2 paragraphs. This is going to be rough for some of you. It says, while we wait in anticipation to reveal more details about our 2022 books, we'd like to announce some updates. Mismatch will be available for all players in January. As for Blades of Light and Shadow, we've seen your comments and understand your concerns, so we want to reassure you that Blades will be receiving a sequel. If you've played Blades, you know how elaborate the art, music, writing, playstyle, and everything is. As a result, it requires a lot of attention to detail to make. Our teams want to make sure that we deliver this epic story with the highest quality, as we know Blades 2 is a highly anticipated Choices book sequel. As a result, Blades will need more time in production and will not be released in 22 as previously stated. Thank you for waiting as we work to make this story the best that it can be.
That left a sour taste in my mouth.
My kind of first reaction to reading this is like, it's going to upset a lot of people. I don't really mind them putting it off because I feel like in the past we have seen them like release sequels and they haven't gone well. So like if they feel like in order to get the result that they want by pushing it off, then like, okay, I'd rather you do that than release some shitty sequel. Also, like, even though I do like Blaze of Light and Shadow from like the very early on impression that I'm getting of it, it's not like I'm not yearning for a sequel quite as of yet. Um, the only thing that concerns me is that we've seen this before, bitch. We have seen this before.
Absolutely. Truly. And like I understand though that they really are just trying to like be informative, but it comes off a little condescending. Like they're like, I get it, but it's like, bitches, how many times have y'all promised something in the past and not like, keep your word? Like,
Yeah, it's just like I don't really get the condescending tone from it, but I do. I've heard it before. That's all I'm gonna say. I've heard this before. I've had the empty.
What happened to your promises? Promises.
no, truly.
I've seen it before. So, you know what though? Someone did point out that like Blades, the original first book of Blades took like 2 years to make. So maybe this is part of the course.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know. But I think the thing that would really help Choices, you know what? Choices, listen. Stop guaranteeing a year when something's going to be released if you don't know yet. Be a little more vague. I think it's going to save your ass one of these days. I really do.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay, and then it says, looking forward, we've made it through another year of choices and we couldn't have done it without you. Thanks for reading our 2021 Choices Library. What's in store for next year? Here's a quick hint. And then it shows a fairy, some sort of sparkle, a syringe, a cowboy with a horse. I feel like that has to be untamable. And then a knife.
I gotta be honest. The syringe and the knife is really throwing me for a loop right now.
I don't know. I feel like the fairy, the sparkles make sense. Cowboy horse makes sense. I don't know what the syringe and the knife are.
Definitely when I look at syringe, like the only medical like themed book that they have is Open Heart, no? So like do you think there might be I don't even want to speculate because it's choices and I don't know, but like the syringe and the knife, the knife is giving me Michael Myers vibes.
Oh. Wow. Yeah, I guess it's the angle of it, right?
The angle, right? Angle.
It's the way I imagine someone holding it like that.
Oh my god, is that Cursed Heart? Oh, now I need to know about Cursed Heart.
Cursed Heart? Oh, yeah. No, I see what you're talking about. I don't know. It could be Crimes of Passion. Well, I guess Crimes of Passion is, well...
I mean, yeah, right?
I don't know. Because Crimes of Passion, like, is releasing this year, and they were specific in saying, here's what's coming next year. But then again, like, Crimes of Passion is also, like, a wide release for... I don't know. Okay, well, that's it. Anything else you want to add?
No, I think we've, aired out our grievances as much as we can with this insider.
Yeah, I mean, good luck choices, girl. People gonna be mad about this one. And on that note, thank you all for listening to this bonus episode. We released our normal episodes Saturday at midnight ET or 9 p.m. PT. Depends on, your own time zone. And not related to the podcast, I do stream. It's twitch.tv/playchoicespodcast, primarily focusing on visual interactive fiction. So Mondays I'm reading Wolf Bride, and Tuesdays I'm reading from Romance Club, a book called Chasing You. Those are Mondays and Tuesdays, 4 p.m. PT, 7 p.m. ET. Again, just convert it to your time zone if you don't live in either of those regions. But otherwise, I think that's it for me. So thank you all for listening. And we will see you in our regularly scheduled Saturday update.
Bye, guys.
Bye.